So, welcome to Gemara Shir. Good evening. Welcome. Our Gemara Shir is now Perikol Kisvei Daf Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis, bottom of the page. We are learning about the halachas of Shabbos food. Shabbos food, Shabbos food. We're going to see how many meals you have to eat on Shabbos, 3 or 4. Yeah, spending on Shabbos food, and also halachas of tzedakah. Do you have to support a poor person who has enough food for a weekday but not for Shabbos? So let's see all that. Bezos Hashem. We are now right. Okay. I owe you from yesterday an answer. We spoke about the fact that if a person saved from the fire, because yesterday we spoke about what happens if someone has fire on Shabbos. The fact is, you're not allowed to save from the fire more than 3 meals. So the Mishnah Berurah says 3 meals means bread, fish, whatever a nice meal. And we saw in the Gemara that let's say the person saved already the low pas kebar pasidro, the bread that's not so nice, not so clean, enough for 3 meals. Now, let's say it out of the fire, he can go back and save the nicer bread. And he would say, listen, the bread I saved is not so nice. Now I want to save the real nice one, the high quality, fresh, good, amazing challah. He's allowed to do that. Not only that, we paskin halacha. I saw the Mishnah Berurah today that says haroma can be done then too. Haroma can be done, which means haroma. What's haroma? A person will lechatchila play the game that way. Person may say, okay, he has enough time to save it from the fire, and he's saving first the bad bread, the challah, which can be eaten in the meal, but there are shvachim, and then save the nicer ones, and he can plan it in advance. Because in that respect, we paskin aroma can be done. Why can aroma be done? The same Rabbanon that told you that you're not allowed to save just any food you want, the same Rabbanon that limited you regarding the amount of bread and other foods that you're allowed to save. Why did they limit you? You may come to extinguish the fire, right? If you just lose your head with more and more and more food, the same Rabbanon told you that if it's not done in a way of in your face, it's done in a way that's aroma, it's okay. Because you still have some kind of reminder, you have some kind of limitation, and that's all that's necessary. Now, and the same goes for other foods. I can say I have 3 types of fish for each meal. I'll take the not so nice ones and then the nice ones. Okay? As long as it doesn't catch fire. Let's continue. Now, we're going to see general halachas to do with Shabbos food. Fourth wide line in the middle of the line. Amar Rav Chizda, Lo Elam Yashkim Odom Lotzot Shabbos. This year is Leilu Nishmas, my father Menachem ben Akiva, and for the Atzlocha Vatzolov of Kol Klal Yisrael. Lo Elam Yashkim Odom Lotzot Shabbos. A person should always wake up in the morning early for the expenses of Shabbos. What does that mean? We would think it means to buy Shabbos food. Rashi says Lotzot Shabbos means that basically Litroach Ulezamen Lotzot Shabbos. If you remember what we learned at the very beginning of the Masechta Daf Yud, it says over there, the poyalim, poor people, they would have to just make enough money for the food of this very day. People lived hand to mouth. So basically, if you have, if you need to buy food for Shabbos, get up early to make enough money, yeah, so you'll have Shabbos food. And yeah, that now the halacha l'maisa, Baruch Hashem, we live like millionaires. We have money in the bank account sometimes, yeah. Elamai, today it does translate into shopping for Shabbos early. If it's all there's a nidoin, can learn it by you, and if you're allowed to shop for Shabbos before davening. Usually one should not do anything before davening almost. Shopping before davening, it's shaykh. There are opinions that allow it. Ask your rabbi. There is such a thing. The yashkim, the hashkoma, already Friday morning, starting early, whatever the preparations may be, is something valuable, as we see over here. How do you know that's true? Shenema, it says in the Eilig Torah. It says it says about the man. We learn all of Shabbos food halachas from man, right? On the 6th day, what does it mean? Once they bring Yaviu, whatever they bring, they would collect the man, glean the man, vehechinu, and they should prepare it la'altar. In other words, let them prepare what they brought. They would bring the man and prepare, do some extra food, extra nice man, and that should be done. Vehechinu, it's a review. Achana should be right away after the havo. And the havo itself was early in the morning. It says baboiker. Because the havo was early in the morning, they collected the man early in the morning. So the work was done early morning, and also the preparation was done early in the morning. Collecting the man is equivalent to go to work in the office or whatever, and cleaning houses. Yeah, and then the next thing would be to prepare it straight away. Everyone has to wake up early Friday morning. Amar Baba. Oh, here comes very Nogia Locha Lamaisa. Amar Baba, b'Shabbos, chayv odom livtzor shtei kikorois. On Shabbos, the person must cut two kikoros, two loaves of bread, each meal. I'm not talking about the shalom, but shalashudas, but clearly the main meals, one has to cut two breads, two loaves. Dichtiv lechem mishne, double bread. I don't know what's the big question people ask over here, that the lechem mishne was on Friday. Lechem Mishnah was on Friday, one for Friday, one for Shabbos. It's true. But the Maisa, the concept of them receiving on Friday double was because of Shabbos. Even if for Shabbos they only had one. So the Maisa, that's what we commemorate it on Shabbos. On Shabbos we commemorate the fact that on Friday they got double by eating the double on Shabbos. So you have to now, it doesn't say eating. What does it say here? To cut. So you cut livitzol shtei kikoros. Okay. So l'choira, I would say to cut both. Do you have to cut both breads or just one? Omar Vashi says Ravashi Chazina l'Rav Kana. I saw Rav Kana. V'no katarti u'botzachada. He would take two in his hands. U'botzachada would cut only one, not two, as many of us do. Omar, because he said you don't have to cut both. You know why? Liktu ktiv. It says liktu lechem mishnah. They collected double. But it doesn't say that they ate double. Of course, eventually they ate it. But the main idea, what we have to commemorate, that makes a lot of sense, actually, according to what you just said. We are commemorating the fact that they received double bread on Friday. What they ate was not so relevant. They ate one on Friday, one on Shabbos. The Lakita, when you pick up the Chalas on Shabbos, tell your family, remembering the times that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave an Esau doubled man. The taking is the business. Oh, however, here comes a big shaila. Abizera have a botza kula sherusei. Abizera, he would cut the entire piece. What does mean the entire piece? Look at Rashi. Says Rashi, botza kula sherusei. It's the fourth Rashi from the bottom of the page. Husa gdoilo, a big piece from one bread. He would cut a big piece. Bedailu beloisa seuda. It will be enough for the entire Suda, one big piece. Shabbos, in honor of Shabbos, he looks as if he likes Shabbos, he gets stronger to eat more. He makes himself eat more. So according to Rashi, what does it mean, kula sherusei? And you pick up two breads, and that's halacha. You take a big piece, and that big piece shows you, I'm going to finish all the salatim and all the things with that big piece of bread to show the chavivus of Shabbos. That's one shot. However, says the Rashba in others, the Rashba says, famous Rashba, followed by the Gro, followed by Mishnah recommendation. Kula sherusei doesn't mean one big piece out of one bread. Kula sherusei means two breads. Kila sherusei means two breads. And you really have to cut both. And preferably eat from both. And that's min hagagro. And this is really lechatchila, which would be done even according to Mishnah Berurah. It's better and ideal to cut both. Says in Mishnah Berurah, if you're worried about wasting too much challah, buy smaller loaves. Better buy two smaller loaves and cut both, and one huge one and cut only one. That's preferable to cut both, and that's kula sherusei. Amar Ravina is asking Ravashi, Rav Tanusa. It looks as if you're a glutton. It looks as if you are, too much into food, too much of a foodie over here. Either you take a big piece, such a big challah you're taking. How does it look like? It's not edel. Or you cut two breads, doesn't look good. Amarle. So Ravashi replied and said, no. Since every day doesn't do it that way, Normally, a Yid doesn't cut a big piece of bread like a behema. The Yid now he does it only on Shabbos. Lo mechzik Rav Sanusa. It doesn't look like he's a glutton. Doesn't look like he's just doing it for Taivas. It's clearly done only for Shabbos. So basically, we're hinting over here during the week. Don't take big pieces. On Shabbos, take an extra big piece. Rabbi Ami Rabbi Asi. Now another halacha here, another halacha minag. Rabbi Ami Rabbi Asi. Imiklalu rifta de ruva. When it was their turn, when the bread of the eruv chatzeros came to them, right? In other words, they would take turns. Back then, each family of the chotzer would have everyone else's breads ending up in their collected to their house, and everyone's bottled to them. Sometimes Rabbi Yamin and Rabbi Asi, when they were the ones who had the bread of the Eruv, right? So then Sharu Iluye, they would make the Hamoitzi. Sharu means to begin. They would make Birkas Hamoitzi on the bread Amri. They would say, Oil v'savd b'chad mitzvah, v'savd b'mitzvah achrina. In other words, since we did one mitzvah with this bread, the mitzvah of Eruv, so too we'll make another mitzvah of eating it mitzad the mitzvah of eating the moitzi. Once one mitzvah was done, another mitzvah can be done with that too. The Lamaisa said that's what we do with what? With a lulav, right? Kind of. Right? The lulav, you shake the lulav and on Pesach you burn it. On Erev Pesach. Ketzad. Okay. Ketzad. Now we said in the Mishnah, Noflod Leika. We said in the Mishnah, what did we say? That if the Leika fell, the fire broke before the 3 meals were eaten, the guy came and comes, Shalom Aleichem, fire. They didn't have any of the 3 meals, then you save and salvage enough food for all 3 meals. If the fire broke between first and second, you save 2 meals. If the fire broke before Shalosh Udas, you save 1 meal of Shalosh Udas, right? Tono bonon. Now let's see a big machlokes over here. How many sudas does the person have to eat on Shabbos? You have to realize something which many of us Westerners don't know. It's to do with all the diets people have today also. Back then, people, we see it many times in the Gemara, and soon we're going to see it very clear, black and white. People back then would only eat 2 meals. People in the times of the Gemara did not have the Western either breakfast, lunch, and supper. When we say, oh, it's so healthy to eat breakfast, today there are dietitians who say it's not. It's a big shaila. People back then would have, if you remember from Daf Yud, your breakfast would either breakfast or lunch. Obviously, po'alim, talmid chachomim, thieves, depends where you belong, ludim. In other words, yeah, there was 1 meal of the brunch, anywhere between 6 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock lunch, right? And there was the evening meal. And then Oni, also the beginning of Brochus, right? The Oni comes and eats his bread, the candle. There would be 2 meals. Shabbos, you're adding a 3rd meal. That's why I'm jumping the gun. We're going to see eventually, probably in a few days from now, as far as I remember, the big mile of Shalashudas, right? The one with Shalashudas, is the Nitzel from Gehenna and from Chule V'chule, Chevla Mashiach, Gog Magog. What's the big deal of Shalashudas? The bit of fish and the and matzah. The idea is that the 3rd meal is only for Shabbos. It's for the sake of Shabbos only, right? You don't have Shalashudas throughout the week. You have 2 meals. The 3rd meal is only in honor of Shabbos. That's the idea. You show I'm adding a meal for Shabbos only. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to. The truth is, even today, Shalashudas is really stuck in the middle, right? Normally we have breakfast. I'm saying whatever. Besides the point. You okay? You want to ask something?
Because usually I usually have 1 meal between in the day.
How many meals does the person have to eat on Shabbos? Shalosh, 3 meals. Rabbi Chitka Omer, Arba. Whoa, Rabbi Chitka says you have to have 4 meals on Shabbos. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, V'shnei Mikra Echad Dorshu. Both Tanakama and Rabbi Chitka that says the 4th meal, they both learn it from the same pasuk. What's the pasuk? It says, V'omer Moshe, Yichlu Hayoim, Ki Shabbos Hayoim L'Hashem, Hayom L'Timtzu B'Sodeh. Moshe told Bnei Yisrael, eat it today, because Shabbos L'Hashem today. Today you will not find it in the field. Yeah? In other words, Moshe is telling them, Shabbos, don't go to collect it. You won't find it today in the field, right? Lamaisa, it says 3 times the word Hayoim in the pasuk, and the 3 Hayoims comes to allude to the fact to tell us that you have to have 3 meals a day. So how come four? Rabbi Chidka sovar hanitlosa hayoim lebar miurta. Rabbi Chidka said the word hayoim comes to tell me hayoim. Besides the night meal, which is regular, on Shabbos you have the regular night meal. It's not discussed because the word hayoim I translated it today as today in English. Really, yoim means day. Day is daytime. Day when it's shiny and bright and sunny, right? So really, there's a night, a regular meal, and then hayom have three meals besides the night, altogether four. According to Abchitka, have four. Wow. I Rabbanon sadly behadi de'urta. Rabbanon believe yoy means like a 24 hours day. Yoy means the whole story, the whole Shabbos from Lichtmensch until Avdolah, the whole hayoim as today, the 24 hours unit. During that time, you have to have three hayoims. You have three meals on that day, which is Shabbos. There are people who are knowing to apparently have like a fourth meal. I don't know how they manage in the winter, but there is such a thing. There's such a maila. Some people have this thing. Okay, good luck to them. Kol hakavod. Okay, fine. Now, Tanan says the Mishnah, we're going to try and prove something from our very own Mishnah. What did the Mishnah say? Not l'adlek b'leil Shabbos. The fire broke on Leil Shabbos. Metzilin Mozen Gimel Sudois. Fire broke Leil Shabbos when? My love, the loy ochal, as I described it to you before, the assumption is when the Mishnah tells us that nighttime you save three meals, that is to say, the loy ochal, my love, must be the guy and his family did not eat at all, fire broke, and you're supposed to save how much, how many? Three meals. Uh-oh, that's not good news for Avchitka. Because you see that as as Shabbos comes in, the fire broke from the candles before anything else happened. Stam, I'm saying, for example, yeah. So you see that he's about to face three meals and only save three meals. According to Avchitka, it should say four. The ochal, we're talking that he ate. Maybe it's a ukimta. No, maybe Enichnam, the whole Mishnah begins. The guy already ate one meal, right? And then he has to save three more besides the one that he managed to eat Baruch Hashem before the fire. But really, it's one that he ate plus three that he didn't yet eat. Three plus one is four. Maybe that's our Rav Chitka would explain the Mishnah. It's a bit of an ukimta, but it's passable. Same question again. Shachris, matzil mozen shtei seudos. Shachris, good morning. Shachris time. Oh, fire. Oh, two meals. My love, the loyochal. We're talking about a guy and family that did not yet eat the Suda Shnia. Didn't have the Shabbos lunch yet, and yet only two. According to Rav Chitka, it should be three. Because Rav Chitka believes there are three meals in the day. We're talking about a guy who already ate two meals, and he has two meals to go. Two plus two. Two he ate. Two he's going to eat, so he can save another two. Two and two is four. That's Rav Chitka. Third question. B'mincha metzil mozen sodachas. Mincha time, shalushudas time, one meal. My love, the loyochal, right? Must be did not yet eat, and he only has one to eat. Loy, the ochal. We're talking here that he ate already three meals out of four, says Rav Chitka. He's about to save one. According to Rav Chitka, we're always like one step ahead. Okay. We're not, so Rav Chitka so far survived the Mishnah. Like the Gemara, punchline. Rabbi Seifa, but the Seifa says, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Le'oil Matzil Moden Gimel Seudos. Remember Rabbi Yossi? He says, listen, I don't care where you're holding in your Shabbos schedule, in your culinary schedule, you always save three meals. Yeah, even if you ate three meals, you save three meals. Maybe not if you ate all three. I'm not sure about that. But Lamaisa, you always, regardless, you save three meals. Why? Because that's a day when you eat three meals. Shabbos is to do Gimel Sudos. As long as you're limited, it's enough. But what do you see? Rabbi Yossi believes. Rabbi Yossi always talks about the total. You know what I'm saying? Rabbi Yossi doesn't care where you're holding in the schedule and the spectrum of the Sudas. Rabbi Yossi says because Shabbos is a three meals day. That's what Rishonim explain. So you save three. So Rabbi Yossi says three meals. That's it. It's a set thing. Michlal must be the Tanakama Gimel Svirale. Tanakama also must be believes in three meals. The only difference is Tanakama spreads the three meals according to where you are in the itinerary of your Shabbos meals. That's all. And Rabbi Yossi says, I put the three meals as a unit wherever they are. But they never argued about the number. So it sounds like Chacham and Tanakama also believe that be'etzem you have three meals. El machvata mislisim the lokar b'chitka. Must be our Mishnah is not Rabbi Chitka. The Mishnah is not supporting Rabbi Chitka, which is okay. we try to make the Mishnah work with Rav Chidka. Well, not. In other words, Rav Chidka is a Tana. He's not dying from it. But Rav Chidka is not the mainstream opinion expressed in the Mishnah. The Mishnah really talks according to the sprach of the Tanakama, not Rav Chidka, which is 3 meals. As we know, that's Allah. Now we're going to ask the question from famous Mishnah in Peah. And that Mishnah talks about how much tzedakah does the city, the what we call today the Kupa Shel Tzedakah, and that's what it was called back then, how much food or money do they have to bring, they have to give to distribute to the Anim? And that will also shed light about the amount of the Shabbos meals. V'aditnan. Be'ezras Hashem nase v'netzliach. V'aditnan. Mi sheyesh lo, have a seat. V'aditnan. Mi sheyesh lo mozon, just turn around the chair and sit. Frag the Gemara. V'aditnan. Mi sheyesh lo mozon shtei seudos. Lo yitul min hatamchui. That's a separate story. A person, before we talk about the person, the city, generally speaking, there were 2 ways of distributing food, and I'm talking about mamish food, to the anim. Yeah, food for the anim was distributed on a daily basis and a weekly basis. The people that were not so respectable, they were not bnei toivim, the regular anim wearing the shmatis, like homeless people, they would go to tamchui. What's a tamchui? Even in modern Hebrew, tamchui really means, as Rashi says, it's a big bowl, it's a big ke'ora, and they would hand them food, bread from the big bowl on a daily basis. Anim would come twice a day. I told you, twice a day, morning and supper, whatever, day and night, right? The anim would come to have the supper over there, right? In the tamchui. In modern Hebrew, what's base tamchui? Soup kitchen. A soup kitchen is where they have it. In Stamford Hill, they have one. Yeah, for example, in England. Yeah, so the Mamash a soup kitchen. In Yerushalayim, they have ones, and they would get 2 meals a day. Very nice. Mi sheyesh lemozon shtei seudos. If a person is an ani but not that poor, he has 2 seudos for today. Lo yitul min hatamchui. He's not eligible to take from the tamchui because he's too rich for that. A tamchui is only for those who mamish don't have even 2 meals. Now, what's the other way of distributing? Mozen arbaisre lo yitul min hakupa. The kupa, look at Rashi. Moisen, it's a few lines from the narrow lines. Moisen lefarnis ani bnei toivim. This is money to give to the more respectful menschlich anim. The zilu meals of the tamchui. They feel shemtzach. They feel embarrassed to take from the tamchui. V'schakim erev Shabbos erev Shabbos. Oh, the tamchui, excuse me, the kupa would give money, enough money for the weekly food expenses on Friday. From Friday to Friday, that was the system over there. Okay, so if the person has 14 meals, if you have 14 meals, don't take from the Kupa Shel Tzedakah your weekly, the minimal weekly allowance of meals, because during the week you're going to have how much? 14 meals. As far as I know, there are 7 days a week. I think so. No, times 2 is 14. Look at my math is so amazing. I'm too impressed. 14, right? 7 times 2 is 14. The Seder? And that's the amount of food you have the whole week. Obviously wrong, right? Practic more money. Money. Who is it? Who is the author of that Mishnah in Peah? Everyone's in trouble now. Lo Rabbanav lo b'chitka. This Mishnah doesn't work right, neither according to Rabbanan nor according to Abchitka. The Mishnah is telling me that every day of the week you eat 2 meals. V'chiloni. Every week, every day you only eat 2 meals, really? According to Rabbanon, you should give him 15, right? Because there's the 3rd meal on Shabbos. So it's 6 times 2 plus 3 of Shabbos. That's 15. According to Abchitka, you have to have 16. Yeah, you have the 12 of the week plus 4. That's 16. So how come this Mishnah is not working according to anybody, right? Answers the Mishnah, no, lo elam rabbanon. Really, really, our Mishnah in Peah follows Rabbanon. How could that be? Damin and Lay, we tell him, we, the managers of the Kupa, the machas around the Kupa, tell him, you have it? Damin and Lay, my the boys lemechel bapuki shabsa. Anyhow, you're supposed to eat what? You're supposed to have a meal on Motzei Shabbos, right? belonging maybe to Leil Sunday that way. Achle b'Shabbos, meaning we're really giving you the same amount. Skip your Motzei Shabbos meal. Just arrange your meals differently. We're not mechuyev to give you that much, as we'll see later too, as to add to your meal. What you have, instead of eating, right, the Motzei Shabbos meal, bring it earlier to Shabbos afternoon, and don't eat the Motzei Shabbos meal. And if you're Hasidic and you wonder about Malav Malka, it's not just Hasidic, everybody's supposed to eat Malav Malka. And Rashi asks the question. Rashi asks the question. Look at Rashi. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, "Achle b'Shabsa, she'tochlenu samuch la'erev, lo titzach lechol b'layla." You're not going to starve. Eat your shalshudas close to nighttime, as we tend to do, right? And at night you'll be satisfied, even if it's summer. Fragt Rashi, "V'afal gad damin al command lo v'sad odom shulchonu b'motzei Shabbos." The Gemara will tell us later. A person is always supposed to set his table on Motzei Shabbos and have a meal. So how does that work? You're telling him give up Malav Malka in order to have Shalashudas. Dr. Rashi, that's for the billionaires. That's for people who Baruch Hashem can afford enough food. They should have 3 meals on Shabbos and Malav Malka. But those who are poor, the kupa is not supposed to support your 3 meals plus Malav Malka. And needless to say, when it comes between Malav Malka and Shalashudas, clearly Shalashudas is more important. I just want to tell you something that a lot of people don't know. And that is, I checked it in Gemara, Rishonim and Halacha, and we'll see it later. I don't want to talk about it now. I don't have much time. I'm aware of it, but I'm just like too excited. So, Leisada Shulchanoi, the main mitzvah of Shalashud up, the main mitzvah of Malav Malka is to set a nice table in honor of Shabbos and have some food. To have bread is less of a mitzvah. You can have mikra din also other foods. It's better to have bread. You set a nice table, menshlich kelim, and eat whatever you want. In other words, if you eat sandwich in bed, some people eat in bed. I still don't like it. Let's say you eat in bed or on the couch while you read the Alon of Shabbos. It's not Malav Malka. You can't just eat a pita lying down. It's not Malav Malka b'chlan. You're not yotzeh. Because you have to set the table in honor of the queen leaving your house. You have to set the table, not some eat in bed. Or eat in front of reading the newspaper. No, you have to set a table. And if you set the table without bread, it's also okay, but we'll see it later. The kitzur, that's a little bit tangential. In any event, so that's the solution. So far, we're happy. We're happy now. Why? Because at the end of the day, what do we say? We say again, we're giving you how many meals? The same as always. However you arrange it, whatever you want to eat Motzei Shabbos, bring it early to Shabbos. On Shabbos, you have 3 meals. Give up one of your Sunday meals, the night one, Leil Yom Rishon, Motzei Shabbos, and now you're going to have 3 meals on Shabbos. Okay. Lema Rabbanon Ivel B'chitka. If so, the ones who are now very happy are Rabbanon. Lema, are you going to tell me now that this Mishnah supports Rabbanon and not Rav Chidka? Are you going to tell me that Rabbanon not Rav Chidka? In other words, the only solution we found is Rabbanon. Rabbanon are the ones who require 3 meals only. True? You have the regular 2 meals of every day, but Motzei Shabbos bring early. But Rav Chidka has no solution. According to Chidka, you have to have 4 meals. Oh, how are you going to have that? Right? So the Gemara, no. I feel it Rav Chidka, even according to Rav Chidka, the Aminanle, we tell him, my the boys lamechel b'mali Shabbos achle le'urta. According to Rav Chidka, we can also play the same game, but from Friday into Shabbos. The food you wanted to eat on Friday, eat on Leil Shabbos. So what do you do? From Friday, you bring it to Shabbos night, to Friday night, Leil Shabbos. Give up on your Friday meal, right? Again, Leil Friday, Thursday night you ate. Friday, it's always night, and then the following day, okay? So now, your Friday meal, bring into Leil Shabbos. Don't eat the entire Friday. Leil Shabbos, eat what you should have eaten on Friday, okay? Shabbos day, have 2 meals, right? Plus the Motzei Shabbos, bring into Shabbos. You import 1 meal from Friday, 1 meal from Motzei Shabbos, plus the 2 normal ones. 2 plus 2 is 4. The Gemara, that's kind of nice, but the entire Friday, the poor man has to starve. You're putting him betainis. What did he do? It's not a question of Rabbanon, by the way. Rabbanon, Rashi was careful. Rashi in his Geoinus told you in Rabbanon it's not a problem. Why? In Rabbanon, come on, move the Motzei Shabbos meal into late Shabbos afternoon. Not so different, right? Not so bad. Yeah, it's playing a little bit. But Rav Chizka is telling you the entire Friday, can you imagine Friday in Tammuz Av, not eating the whole day, and not eating it by night? That's kind of cruel. It's not fair. Ella, therefore, it doesn't work. And now we're going to have a solution which is going to work according to both Rabbanon and Reb Chizka. Ha, Mani, you know who is the author of this Mishnah? A whole new solution. The Mishnah in Peah is nothing to do with us. It's Rabbi Akiva. Which Rabbi Akiva? The Omar Asa Shabbos Chochol Vatitzach Labriyos, which means Rabbi Akiva came up with the famous statement mentioned in the Reish Nun Gimel Shulchan Aruch. Don't You should even turn your Shabbos into a weekday and don't fall on the shoulders of the tzibur of the brios, which means, of course, nobody's arguing that L'chatchila Hashem should always give shefa to Klal Yisrael. Each and every Erlich Yid should have tons of ashirus, right? And therefore what? And therefore, when it comes to normal situation, when people have what to eat, that's one sugya. That's a sugya of who? Chachamim and of Chitka. Each one saying his own opinion. Baruch Hashem, you have what to eat. Say thank you to Hashem, first of all. And have Yishal Shudas, or Kohen Chitka, Arba Sudas. However, a person who doesn't have, that person should not, the Tzibur are mechuyav, the Kupashal Tzedakah are committed and obligated with all of us together to give money enough for what? For the regular meals. For the extra Shabbos meals, be it a third one or fourth one, that's not part of Hilchas Tzedakah. Mitzad Hilchas, two different halachas. That's Hilchas Shabbos, Hilchas Tzedakah. Mitzad Hilchas Tzedakah, and you, and Rav Eden's son, whoever runs the kupa, not mechuyev to give the anin a third or fourth meal. Because mitzidam of the anim, they're not supposed to fall on the burden of the tzibur. Mitzad the Shabbos needs. Of course, needless to say, we do our best, yes, to give the anim as much as we can. Baruch Hashem. Is not a problem. No, that was never a problem. We give them 14 meals. And they eat 14 meals. And the poor person, misken, he fell into that matzav, so he's not mechuyev to. Oh, nice. I like. Asa Shabbos Chachal is talking to the oni. You as an chas shalom, him as an oni, Mr. Ploinel money the oni, he's not mechuyev to shudas in the price of begging for tzedakah. Something. Well, let me give you a good example. A contrast. You know that soon is a Jewish holiday called Hanukkah. Have you heard of it ever? So, okay. So in Hanukkah, was steht in Hanukkah? Even ani mechazer al psochim, mechuyev the mechazer al psochim, and sell himself and sell his clothes, in order to get shemen for Hanukkah. Oh, so some mitzvahs, a person is supposed to mamish beg and go crazy and mashpil himself to do anything in order to do the mitzvah. Pirsul is very important. I can tell you shtickle about it later. Yeah, it's a whole hemshech of the Yiddish thing, of the Jewish thing. Shabbos, not Chilul Shabbos, the third meal on Shabbos is not there. You're not mechuyev as an oni to start begging, and they're not mechuyev to give you. Of course, it's nice and a very, very good thing. It's not a chiyuv. Don't mix up things. Rav Chizka and Rabbanan talk about a guy, Baruch Hashem, has what to eat. He's mechuyev to eat 3 meals or 4. The oni and his providers are Shalashud is there, is out of the question. 2 separate inyonim. That's a good answer. However, here comes another shaila. It says over there, I don't know how far we're going to get with that, but we're starting. It says there also in Teah, oh, this is a new story. Up until now, we spoke about anim who are local. Local anim, what do they get? We said, let's summarize. 2 meals a day if they're local, straight from the bread bin, from the soup kitchen. If they're not shemtzach, they don't mind. They come to the soup kitchen. Good. Or if they're more respectful, they get a nice, check in the mail, at the beginning on Friday for 14 meals. Enough for 14 meals, vouchers, food vouchers. Beseder. Now we're talking about an one who's not local. He's a guy who passes from place to place. Yeah? This is a vagabond. This is a guy who goes from place to place. Now he's an oni, and that happens a lot, right? Anim, shalochim, schnorrers, they go from place to place. And ha'oni over welcome. He has a whole different set of halachas of tzedakah, how much we're mechuyev to support him. So, it says in the Mishnah, Ein poichsin le'oni over mimokom lemokoim, an oni that passes from place to place should not get less than mikikar bepundion idalit besela. I wish I had time to go into this. Basically, you give him a kikar, which if a pundion, an entire kikar, is worth the money called pundion, then 4 sela is worth sela. It's a whole cheshbon, which I may or may not tell you tomorrow. Basically, there's a certain amount of bread, a certain size of bread, which is, I think, chatzi kav. Comes out that it's half a kav. It's about 750 grams, something like that. It's supposed to be enough for 2 meals. Yeah, I'm not going to the details now, but basically, there is a certain amount of bread that a local only gets one kicker that should be enough for 2 meals. That's if he's there only during the day. Lan, if he wants to stay overnight, noisano parnasa slina. You also give him parnasa of the to do with sleeping, as we'll see later, means give him the cushions and the linen. Vim shavas nosan mosen gimal suudois. Oh, if he wants to stay there for Shabbos, you give him 3 meals, enough for 3 meals. 3 meals. You see that Mishnah follows Rabbanon. Comes Shabbos, what happens then? You give him 3 meals. Why not 4? Right? Zog the Gemara, no. It's really of chitka. Even according to chitka, it can work. We're talking about a guy that comes already with the meal that he got from the previous place, right? We tell him, the one that you have, you eat, plus another 3. Eat what you have, and then we give you another 3. But if he doesn't have any, then we do give him 4. In other words, it would always give him, right? The assumption is that people would always have to give him tzedel derech, more food for the way. What you have, eat, and we'll add 3 per Shabbos. Together, it's 4. Yeah, thank you very much. So now you're saying you gave him 1 plus 3. So now he ate up what he got from before plus 3, and you don't give him anything when he goes. He'll go empty-handed. And you give him 1 more. In other words, when we said 3 meals, we meant he ate the one from before on Shabbos, Leil Shabbos. 3 for Shabbos we give him, plus we give him another one to take to the next journey later on. If you tell Bekitzer, my panosas lina, what do you mean when you say panosas lina? You give him the linen. You make sure that if he has where to sleep and only comes, you have to make sure you give him the dinin, the puria, the bed, and the linen is what you give him. So there's much more here to say here, but for now, that's what we have. Tomorrow is Monday. Meet you in the other room. Thank you to the beautiful place here, Mamlo is such beautiful hosts, to Torah Anytime, and to those who watch us on YouTube. Thank you very, very